A little bit of snow might have given us a weekend free of watching the Posh, but after no inspection here tonight, we go ahead. This is Talk Posh. We've only got a small squad lineup tonight. Del, Chris and Ben have joined me, but we've got no Alex. Unfortunately, he's on a mid-season training camp in Portugal, sunning himself up. If you'd like to get involved in tonight's show, then just tweet us at Talk Posh. Comment on the live feed and the guys in the room will obviously talk to you back. Or if you're watching on YouTube, then subscribe to the channel and we really would appreciate it. We're going to cover two dramatic talking points this week, even though we didn't have a game, and we will cover the Walsall game from last Tuesday. But like I say, we've got the Steve Evans and the new shared ownership. Del, I'm going to come straight to you, starting with the Steve Evans point. Happy?
No, not really. You know, the reason I'm not happy is obviously I still feel that we shouldn't have got rid of Grant. Just something untoward. It just don't seem right. You know, the fact that he left 2 hours before he was appointed Peterborough manager, he was going to leave to do an outside job. Something ain't right, but at the end of the day, he is our new manager, and we just need to get behind him and go from there. But no, just something don't sit right with me, if I'm honest.
I think what it was, obviously we were sat here last Monday and we was obviously quite gutted about the Grant being dismissed situation. It's like replacing someone so quickly that it's going to take time. But if he delivers the results on the pitch, are you going to be a little bit happier?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
No, it just, you know, and obviously I know football, and it's not just Peterborough United. There's too many lies going on.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's he rung me, she rung me, I rung him first, and you know, I wish people would just come out with the truth. And stop all this propaganda rubbish.
So yeah,
why leave a job to go abroad, but then run up Barry for tickets? It is what it is. I'm still unhappy that Grant left, and I know we're going to talk about the new 50% owners in a minute. I think there's more to it than we're all reading into. I know Darragh just sold 50%, but I believe, and this is just my personal opinion, that if this investment wasn't coming along, Grant would still be the manager. I think there's something in it that. Don't get me wrong, I think Steve Evans is more capable of getting us promoted quicker than what Grant was. It seems to me it's a case of do whatever we've got to do to get promoted. Forget about the free-flowing football, forget about the bringing the youth through, forget about this, we just want to get promoted. And why do we want to get, I know we want to get promoted, but it just, you know what I mean, something ain't sitting right with me. So,
Chris, what about your opinion on him?
I've got to agree with Del actually. I thought, you know, with the development that we've got 50% new owners in the club kind of thing, and that the two seem that like they must be connected in some description, some way, shape or form. I guess as well, with Grant going and that, we were banging on last week about bringing somebody in with some experience at the level that we are at the moment, and as much as people are kind of not keen on Evans, he ticks the boxes in that respect. He's got teams promoted from League One in a kind of similar squad budget situation.
So out of the people that were out there to obviously become the new manager, are you happy with the appointment of Steve?
There's the element as well that we always knew at some point he was going to come in and be manager of the club, and I think actually coming in this stage of the season with this number of games left to go, is it what, 14 games or something? 13 now. 13 games left to go, on the cusp of the playoffs and things like that. Actually bring him in, we're in a situation really, we've got nothing left to lose. You know, the season's there precariously in the balance. If Evans comes in, gets us promoted and that, hopefully he can. Yeah.
just going back to it, you know, and obviously for Steve Evans' history, he has been successful. Fair play, credit where it's due, but it's not the way he's got teams promoted. Is not what Darragh has always harped on about. That concerns me. You know, that concerns me that he's alluded to about Madison, using an example, that he's a genius, but he needs to work harder. You know, I've been saying that for a long time. He is a very talented player, needs to work harder, but he's come along and said it. So hopefully he'll get the best out of players. The one thing that really does concern me is, you know, my views on a diving, cheating, petulance. I think that'll be a case of you do what you've got to do to win a game. So I actually think that side of things is going to come into it more, which will disappoint me and upset me more than it has done.
Every time we've come up against the Steve Evans side, or you look at them in the leagues in general, people do refer to them as being quite dirty sides, to say the least.
It is, and Yeah, all right, if people want to go out there and say, we just want to get promoted, and if that's all you want, just promotion, Steve Evans is a man for the job. No question about it. If you want to see your team playing well and going through the channels and going through the leagues in the correct way, by playing proper football, by playing as a good, honest team, Steve Evans is not your man.
So who would be the man?
I still think, going back, I know it's gone now, but Grant was, if he was given the time that Darragh wanted to, the 2, 3, 4 years plan that he had for Grant McCann, I know it wasn't going particularly great for him at the moment, but it's still been our most successful season. You know, perhaps next year, the season after, would have been the time where we flourished. My concern is if Steve Evans does do what he's set out to do and get us in the playoffs and get us promoted, and I've got to agree with him actually. If he said that if we do get in the playoffs, he thinks we'll win it. I've got to agree with him. I think because that's his mentality and fair play. But will it have come too soon? Because we go through the players that we've got. How many of those players, our players, are championship level players? Honestly, so it'll be yet another year of rebuilding the team. Another summer of getting rid of a load of players, getting a load of new players.
That's going to happen regardless under Steve Evans. The Steve Evans team he builds himself, so in the summer, whatever happens.
How long is it going to be before we get the stability? Just going back to the Steve Evans sort of appointment, the reason I believe it's sort of shit or bust, if I'm saying, for promotion this year, is with Darragh coming out and saying he's sold 50% of his shares. I think there's some sort of financial bonus in it for getting us in the championship. I only think Darragh will be with us the next 12, 18 months maximum before he sells out. And I appreciate everything he's done. I really do. And I'm not knocking him, I'm not questioning him.
Wonder when people going on about the takeover definitely must have had something to do with the change in manager, but at the same time, there's no way two Canadians went, we want Steve Evans as our manager. They were taking him from Darragh. This is still Darragh's choice to bring Evans in.
Correct.
So
anything been said on social media so far, Ben?
At the moment, just Simon Woodward says Maddison will be gone in the summer. He won't stick the Evans way.
Evans wanted him at Leeds, didn't he?
Yeah, Evans is actually very good when being a man manager. Even in the non-leagues he did, he got the best out of the better players. And he sort of mollycoddles them a bit. He's sort of sterner with the ones he needs to be like that with. And Maddison might actually react well to him.
But it's something we've touched upon before, that we said when Grant was in charge, and that the one thing he needed to do was capitalise on Maddison's ability, but put his arm around him and go, look, you need to kind of sort out all this kind of chucking yourself on the floor thing, or be smarter about doing it. And maybe Evans is the guy to come in, like we've seen, the first comment he's made publicly about Maddison is basically to say you're a genius, but you've got to work on this. That maybe that's the kind of man management we need on some of the players we've got in the squad.
I think Steve Evans speaks very well, and I mean the interview he's done so far, I mean the one with Philadelphia and the one with BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, I think he spoke very well in them both. But is it what we want to hear? Is it just saying because we want to hear? We need to see them performances coming onto the pitch. You know, I mean, it's literally, like I say, it's 13 cup finals for us. If we make it, okay, then we'll give it a good go. You also look at the run-ins and everything. It looks like it could be a final against Rotherham if we got that far, which would be another thing quite tasty with obviously Steve, wouldn't it?
Just allude to what you said about the interviews. I've got to be honest. Obviously, I listened to him as well and watched the Peterborough YouTube. Yeah, he did come across extremely well. He did come across that he actually cares about Peterborough as well. And I saw that genuine, if I'm honest. But a lot, as I alluded to at the start of the show, is there's too much lies, too much propaganda in football, where people say what they want you to hear and cover the things. So, you know, it weren't my first choice. I'm not really ecstatic about the appointment, but you know, we all need to give him the benefit of the doubt and support him, because at the end of the day, Peterborough's my team.
He's same with you. He was not the man I would have picked personally, but he's here now, so that makes no difference. If people saying to have him out already, it's just ridiculous. He's here. He's not going anywhere unless he screws up badly. And the chance of him screwing up badly, well, he's got to play some games first to get there, doesn't he?
So, Chris, I'm just going to come to you, and it's a couple of things that I saw on social media last week when he was appointed, and it's quite negative, really. It's fans saying, obviously, about Evans out straight away. It's fans saying that they want a refund on their season tickets. It's come across. I mean, it has only been a minority, but Chris, what would you say to them people that have said that?
First and foremost, if you're a fan of the club, you're a fan of everything at the club.
Correct.
Regardless of whether you agree with the decision or not. You've seen some of the thoughts here. People aren't overly pleased with the appointment, but
we'll still
you'll still be there cheering on the team and trying to support them in that way, kind of thing.
I'm a bit more to the other way of that, in that I don't actually. If people make that choice, that is their choice, and I don't think they should be moaned at as much for making it. It's just they've got a moral centre that doesn't see sport as an excuse to forget certain things. But for example, I wouldn't, from what he's done, I'd never stop supporting Posh, Evans as manager. But if Lee Hughes had been signed by us, I wouldn't have stopped supporting Posh, but I would not have attended a game while he played in our shirt.
Didn't we speak about this last week? I've done it on Twitter. I agree with you. You know, I'm not happy about Steve Evans, but I will support my team. And Darragh, just in case you're watching, I purchased my season ticket yesterday, so any chance you can retweet the show?
Right? Why haven't you tagged him in it? But I mean, that brings us on to.
Just going back to Lee Hughes. Sorry, as you were saying, like the likes of Lee Hughes, the geezer from Plymouth. I can't remember his name.
McCormick.
You know, I'd still support my club. I wouldn't be able to go. No, we've got murder. Even last year or the few years, remember when we had Mike Tyson come? I didn't go to that game. I heard he was going. I didn't go.
We've had bloodlines like that in the past, not to the extent of the players we've mentioned, but you know, we were the ones who kind of took a punt on someone like Paul Taylor, who we knew had a problem with drugs and things.
He had a problem with drugs. He didn't go out and do.
No. I'm not
well,
saying
he did actually afterwards. No, I didn't right. So he done someone in a pub though, didn't he? After it,
but I mean,
but we had him back after that. So that does say sometimes we don't follow through on that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's sort of like it's not a definitive black or white situation. Some of these points, and you know, Evans, what he's done, is it as bad as like what Hughes has done or what?
Of course it ain't.
But then that's what I'm saying. You know, like with someone like Taylor, we took a chance on, even though we know he's got a bit of a dodgy past. Someone like who was it? Harris.
Clark out.
Yeah,
I think his pass came from when he was out.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. He was fine.
Like, so you know, we've not been in recent times. We've not been accustomed to turning a blind eye when it kind of suits us in some sense.
I mean, we'll call the end on that for this time being. Just going to come to you, Ben. Though, is there anything that's been said before we move over?
Simon Woodward gets says you can only pick from who wants the job. Jason Green says, I was against Evans, but he's here now, so get behind the team, give the bloke a chance, which is pretty much what most people are saying. Pete Short, by getting two Canadians in, halves D-Mac's risk and potentially increases funds overall, which we'll talk about later in the show.
Am I right?
Takeover.
Am I right in assuming one of the Canadian guys actually was born and bred in England, grew up in Southampton?
Yeah, down south.
But I mean, I think one of the comments he made, he referred to being on the Dell as a kid growing up watching football. So
he was never on me, mate.
An old and crumbling stadium.
I mean, like I said, we'll use that as a link now.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, we've got Dr. Jason Neal and Stuart Thompson. The fact he's got Doctor at his name, does that mention a bit of money? But I mean, obviously, it came as a little bit of a surprise to quite a few people. DMAC had obviously said in the past that he would never do shared partnership, but at the end of the day, he obviously said 3 years ago that he'd got 12 months, and if we weren't out this league, then he would be selling up. But he's only seeing it as a positive thing.
Is that propaganda again, though, back in the past from DMAC trying to sell the club in the first place?
If it is, at least you know you've got someone in there. Now,
Yeah.
the way I look at it, now, yes, you've got someone in there, but I think, love him or hate DMAC, Peter United would be lost without him. And I think he's put such a stability.
For all these people, there was a lot of people out there actually knocked Darragh, and you knock him for much as you want, but we need to go back. That if it wasn't for Darragh, let's face it, we wouldn't even have a team to moan about. You know what I mean? So if he does want to sell up, fair play to him. You know, thank you for the last 10, 11, 12 years, whatever you've done. And I think by doing the way he's done it, by selling 50%, has put us in good stead for when he does sell up. Not if, but when. I genuinely believe it'll be in the not too distant future. So hopefully we're under safe hands.
There was something I looked at earlier. So when Darragh took over, we was in our league. We had Halifax, Darlington, Hartlepool. They were just free.
That was 2 weeks ago, wasn't
it? Look at where they are. I mean, Darlington, they had a £30,000 stadium, didn't they, over there? And they're nowhere to be seen.
That was a joke, weren't it? It was empty stadium week after week.
Well, yeah, exactly. So people want
a bit like MK, really.
They're a League Two club. They are. I'll leave them alone. But so I mean, like I say, it is a massive talking point about this. Do you think that with having a shared ownership, it's going to boost fans to come?
No.
They're coming out and they're saying that they've now got a 3 to 5 year plan though. You know, obviously they want stability as
Dara had a 3 to 5 year plan last season.
He had a 5-year plan when he joined the club,
That's
didn't
right. But you know, you can't read into these 3-5 year plans because they keep changing. I think the positive I'm taking out of it is their stability. You know, we've got somebody lined up now to take over the other 50% when Dara does sell up. I think that's the most positive thing we can take out of it.
Can we look at it, because obviously at the minute, obviously they're all committed, you've got sort of income from quite a few different directions. Is that going to help them?
I don't know. Did you see the quote attributed to one of them? That he said that when they invest in things, they're aiming to make 10, 20 times their money back. That sort of quote is the sort of quote that worries you a little. But it could work two ways. Either they are very interested in making a lot of money out of this, and at a club like this, that's a hard thing to do. There's only one way to do that.
$7 grand once we bought it.
Oh, not again.
Can we worry about buying it?
Yeah, and the council will buy it back.
Strange.
But it does make you wonder, are they the other end? They're saying, no, we're not here to put lots of money in. But they have to push towards the top end of the championship and hopefully challenge for playoffs in that to make any money. So maybe they will be investing more than they're making out at the moment.
Because this has been obviously loitering around the club for 6-7 months, Chris, just one word answer. Do you believe that because this was in the pipeline, it was the reason Marriott and Madison didn't go in January?
No.
What do you believe the reason in January was? Because Darryl obviously said that he had the backing of Grant to keep Marriott and Madison here in January.
And it's been in the pipeline for a while, hasn't it?
So apparently they've been to games for 5-6 months. Yeah. So I personally, this is my personal view, that I believe that is why we didn't cash in on a £4.5 to £5 million bid for Marriott.
It may well have been, actually, thinking about it, because Dara's knowing that he's going to be getting a nice little lump in the next few weeks anyway.
Correct. You know.
Do you think that his debt was halved as well? Do you think they've taken on half that loan?
I really don't know, but
because he said it worked out well for him as well. Surely he didn't just mean the same.
He'd done very well out of it, was his words.
So if they're 50% owners, you have to say at least 50%'s got it. Yeah. So if he made half of his money back, he still has money in the club, but that would have worked out well for him, wouldn't it? And don't blame him for it.
You can't blame him, but you don't know how the deal was. Part of the deal may have been to clear off the debts and give him X amount of money. So for all we know, Peterborough United could be debt free. That could have been part of the sort of.
I'd love him to say if that was the case, just so we knew.
But we don't know, and we never will know, to be fair. But you know, you've got to look at it as a positive in one way for the security of the company. But it is a company. Security of Peterborough United for the next few years. If Dara does want to sell his up 50% and go to Dagenham, thank you very much. Good luck. But you know, I think he's doing what's right for him, and rightly so.
There is a lot of fans on Twitter, and I mean, I'm just going to use Twitter because it's the main social source now. Other clubs higher up than us that would love him at the club. You know, Leeds United are mad over him, aren't they?
Forest have been calling him
so
for years.
You've got to look at high-end championship clubs that have obviously been ex-Premier League that love our chairman. Now, I just feel like you don't know what you had until it's gone, and I feel like there is some very immature Posh fans on there that. I mean, I know he's not stupid enough to throw the rag in just from a Twitter comment.
I just wonder, because I think his mentality, his interaction with the fans and things, as a chairman in terms of actually running the club, I think it's fantastic. I think the finance side of things, I think money in the game is spiraling out of control. It's getting worse every season on season on season. And someone like McAntony came in 10 odd seasons ago for us with a fair amount of money behind him. Even on that kind of same level of money, in today's game, it's not really sufficient enough to kind of make those big pushes that you need to. And that's why he's had to do this kind of sale, the 50% of the club and that, to get more investment behind us. As I said, these are people who are willing to put the capital up if they can see some sort of return in the future. So,
Ben, any comments on social media?
Yeah, we've had quite a few of them. Some the new co-owner also said the ventures also shrink at times, which isn't too bad then. In Gutteridge, my only gripe with Dara is his Twitter presence. Pre-season, just keep it quiet and stop banging on about league winners, blah blah blah.
To be fair, he wasn't that bad this year. Pre-season, was he?
He still set his sights pretty high.
Well, yeah, but he won as sort of.
And also the credit crunch hurt Dara big time. Lost a hell of a lot of money overnight. Fair play to him for keeping us afloat, which is true.
And it's sort of. I mean, we'll cover the Walsall game in a minute, but that was in front of just over 2,500 fans.
Fair play to all of us.
It was ridiculous. but that 2.5, that was our lowest league attendance in 29 years.
Yeah, but you can't
Yeah, but
legislate
there
the
are-
weather like that.
So let's be honest, how many people didn't go, right?
Because of
did,
the weather.
did any of us think that game was going to finish? Genuinely? Did we think it was
No,
going to
when I was
Stuff
listening to it, I
There
don't
was
think
no
it was gonna.
chance that game was going to finish.
I
But
mean,
it did.
After the slating arguments to some of the referees over the course of the season so far,
That would've been
that
cool.
referee deserves
I want him
a
every week.
medal.
He does.
I mean, because he could have. I think he gave them 5 minutes to clear the
He did.
lines and things like
So-
that. But to see that kind of common sense from a referee,
Yeah.
is something
Not
you
only
don't
common sense
see
from a referee,
often enough.
But also common sense from the players, because
Yeah.
the players, you know, they could have gone over the top in some of the tackles, etc., and forced the ref's hand. But one thing about that game is, wasn't too much rolling around, was there?
Because it was cold on the floor. What do you want to be rolling around there? Like I say, we will come back and cover
Even
that.
fair play to Walsall. I haven't heard any kind of blaming of the weather for their loss kind of thing.
It was a bizarre game,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
It was
Fantastic.
Comment on it.
Go on.
Yeah, just a comment coming through from Pete Short, which is something I'd thought about. Just that he puts it as they could be the Glazers in disguise. One of my main worries: foreign ownership of English clubs, where it hasn't gone well. I mean, the lower leagues we're littered with them. You've got the Venkeys, Munto Finance, Notts County, where they didn't even know who was in charge of that.
But then is that a good thing that it is 50-50 at the minute?
Yeah, but like Dale says, eventually there might be a time when it's not 50-50, and then you're left complete. Maybe Darryl will be the one who's keeping them on the football track.
Well, let's
as
hope we're
such.
in the Championship if that does ever come about. Just going to come over and cover something else now, which is a little bit of a touchy subject to some people. I want you at home to get involved with this as well, and it's the new away kit for next season. Obviously, came out and the results came out on Saturday. That it's going to be the white and the gold Milton Keynes Dons looking kit.
Blue and black, wasn't it?
Hey, blue and black.
Don't worry.
I'll get you.
What's it mean? Tell me later. we obviously that kit has come out and they've said that it's all white with just a tiny bit of gold on.
It's not all white, it's shit.
It's
It's not all white.
it's
wrong.
I think
Why is it so wrong, Dale? Come on, we'll cover you.
Well, let's face it, right? Last week was not the greatest of weeks. We lost Grant, gutted. We got Steve, I weren't happy. You know, 50-50 investments, something not right there. And then to top it off, white kit.
You did get to see me twice in 24 hours.
Yeah, I did, to be fair, but white kit. You know, I wanted a red kit.
I think a red kit, and that came bottom, didn't it? Overall,
It did. Pathetic.
Which-
A black kit should be for a ref. End of story, alright? A white kit, we've had the white top for the last 2-3 seasons. Red, I like the red. And as a few people on Twitter have alluded to, the red kit was probably the kit we wore in one of our best ever away games against Huddersfield. Get the red kit.
So
Red kit.
would you want to go to the People United and after a recount on votes, or I think there was 6,500 votes in it.
Yeah, well,
overall, so-
I just don't think they can count. I think Barry was there.
Barra?
Barry through the old turnstiles, right? Let 2 through, not 1. Let 2 through. You know what I mean? To manipulate the figures.
So you're not
It's
happy
wrong.
with the kit?
No, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with white. For all of you that chose white, seriously, can't give your head a wobble.
That was how they say. Ben and Chris, any views on the kit, or are you just not bothered with what we're playing?
I'm not too fussed as long as the home kit's blue.
Would you?
I don't see the practicality of it because the last few seasons we've kind of gone and taken the prior season's away kit and used it as a third strip. Well, that's completely buggered up that.
Right, anyway, this is important. Ian Gutteridge, okay? These shirts did fit us when we bought them, alright? The cheek
It
of
was in
the
August.
cheek.
It's fitting.
That's why I'm not wearing this season. It's too tight on me now.
Well, I was about to come to something. Like another question: if you was to put the home kit next year, would you keep the red socks?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's not.
I
I'm
like that.
happy with that.
We've had that loads of times in the past, so it's not. A big
If we
thing.
had a red away kit,
Yeah.
would you get red socks as well, or would you nowadays?
Well, you can't.
You can't.
So that's probably why they didn't want to do it. I'm
Well,
just
no,
trying
hey,
to sum you up then.
Oh, you're trying to be smart, ain't you?
Another question.
Does
I'll
it-
tell you
does it
what,
suit-
right? I'll tell you
does
what.
it?
How about next season then? We have a green home kit. How's that sound? Let's go back to originality.
Yeah. So cover that then. And I,
Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing.
Let's go back to
Can I
originality.
leave the show, please?
We ain't
Just
can't
cover
we?
that. Thank you. Right. For you viewers at home, I want you to get involved in this as well. These 3 guys will have their vote in a minute, but I want the best away kit that we've had. Okay? You might see a few on the wall behind us. Ben's going to... He'll point because he probably can't reach to his favourite kit. But Del, best away kit over the last few years?
No, I don't know.
You don't know.
Nah, I can't think top of my head.
This one when it fit?
I don't even like this one, to be fair.
Why would you buy it then?
Well, because it's stripy.
To me, you look like a zebra.
To be fair, I bought it thinking stripes going to make me look skinnier, but
That's horizontal.
but it ain't really worked very well, has it? So no, not this one.
Ben, Pete's getting it for you.
Do you know what? I own the shirt. I bought it, but I hated it from the day I bought it. It's just I bought every shirt back then.
You bought it, Chris.
Yeah.
Any favourites on there?
Just because of what it means in terms of the game I went to was the black wool
Yeah,
we
that's
did at
all
Trafford. I quite like just simplicity of
This
the black.
one, that was the.
Tomlin was wearing that one.
Yeah.
I remember.
I remember that. Anyone come up at home? Views on the best away kit we've had?
Got the Black Energy Park away kit, the one
Yeah,
Chris just
just
pointed to. Best away kit, all black 08-09 season. Was that the Adidas one?
Yes, yeah.
That was the other one behind Chris's
Yeah,
shoulder.
got
remember?
that one there, yeah.
The Argentina one weren't too bad, to be fair.
Yeah, someone
Yeah.
It
said
reminded
that
me.
one.
It reminded me of the home shirt from the 70s, 80s.
I quite like that period where they did that kind of throwback to when we played in the Argentina style
Yeah,
kit. The
correct.
green throwback as well. They were quite nice and personal to the club, I thought. Which was
David Johnson says green home kit. Does that guy watch football?
That guy, right? Just go and have a look. Just go and have a look, right? See what kit we first wore, all right, in 1934. Then come back to me if you watch football.
I was very young.
That is fair.
Am I right? Or am I just making that up?
most of us weren't around at that
I'm
time.
making
now,
it
to be fair,
Were you there that game?
Or alternatively, if you go down to, is it the family stand? And you have a
family
look at
stand have got them
you have
in
a look
the
at the
corner
pictures,
like Lord
The
there.
first
Yeah,
kit was good.
have a look at the first kit, see what colour that is, and then go to Specsavers. Right,
Yep.
the green away kit from a few years ago I quite liked.
Yeah.
On the subject of green.
Johnny Earth says the orange goal no sponsor kit. That was an awful
Oh,
kit.
that was awful. That was Francis Green
horrible.
years.
No one's mentioned the older, the Posh green and navy stone.
Yeah,
that was horrific.
Right, so we're just going to move on now. We usually have a know the opposition quiz, but today you're going individually, okay? And the quiz today, and people at home can get involved, so the phones unfortunately are going to have to be turned over.
Sorry, I've just got to be a little bit offensive here.
Oh,
Someone
dear.
said to me, right, Lena, nothing would make you look slim, Dale.
Apart from sitting next to me.
I'll come and stand next to you. All right, love. Right then.
Can I carry on
The
now?
cheek of it, yeah,
Are you
carry on,
alright?
mate. Yeah, I'm on one now.
You're on one.
Del-
Which
Del-
means that you're
Del-
going to do well in the quiz.
Be the bigger person.
Do
in this
I
situation.
watch?
Be
Do
the
I
bigger
watch?
person.
Hope you do that as well.
Right, so we're going to do a quiz tonight, and like I say, people at home can get involved, but unfortunately these guys will have to turn their phone
I've got to turn the
over.
phone off. Go on.
Correct. And it's all about Steve Evans and Know Your New Boss.
Okay.
Alright?
Oh.
Put that there.
So,
Right, I'm going to guess a weight 48 stone.
there's no weight
No,
question.
okay.
We've got pen, we've paid for each, and we will just, it's 6 questions, six questions on Know Your Boss. So people at home, you can join in. I'll look at the answers in a minute once they've turned the laptops over. So like I say, if you're close to them, then the person that's closest will win the question. Okay, so just 6 questions, and there is a tiebreak if needed. First question: how old is Steve Evans? Just going to give you 10 seconds on each. Okay. Okay. Which was the first club that Steve Evans managed?
This is making good TV, isn't it?
It's making fantastic. You're getting to know your boss.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to go to him in the first club you managed.
I think this
Okay.
is the second one.
Right. Which club has Steve spent the longest amount of time managing?
Is that including non-league?
It includes any team that he's managed. Okay. So which club has Steve spent the longest amount of time managing? Everyone's just paused. There's deep thought here.
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready,
Okay,
mate.
everyone else, yeah? Right, okay, I'll make it a little bit easier now. Steve left Mansfield last Tuesday, the 27th. His last game for Mansfield on Saturday the 24th, he managed Mansfield against Coventry, but what was the score? I can tell you that Ricky Miller got booked in the game for diving to
Which is
win a
the first
penalty.
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
If that helps the scoreline, I'm not sure it does. Okay. Question 5. Out of 907 games which Steve has been as manager, how many has he won? Okay. You
Percentage or...
No, I've gone on games, unfortunately.
How
Okay.
many?
And this is
Out
the
of,
league game.
out of 907 games, how many games has Steve Evans won? Just the closest to it. I will give you the percentage after as well, but unfortunately. So, do you know the percentage? You've probably seen the percentage now. You're trying to work it out, ain't you? Okay. That was question 5, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then question 6. Before managing, when Steve was a footballer, what position did he play? Can't say catering staff. It doesn't work.
Can you just say one area of the pitch? Does it have to be a specific position?
You can. I'll
Specific.
go specific, and then I might be nice to you.
Not a clue on any of those.
Not a clue on any of them, Chris. Right. Okay.
Can I do my
Right.
phone now?
Yeah, you can look at your phone. Right, I'm just going to get you to swap the paper. Like you at school, really. Yeah? Right, you can take that one, you can take that one.
Well,
you
no.
can take that one. Right, okay. So, I did my homework on Evans. Right, so, how old is Steve Evans? Anyone get it right?
Well, we don't know the answer.
Okay, 55.
Oh, I guess the 54.
I put 54 as well.
Right. Which was the first team that Steve managed?
I thought it was Hull Beach.
You thought it was Holwich and
Stamford.
No, it was Hull Beach before Stanford.
It came up as Stamford. It
I
didn't
can
even
guarantee
put it-
you won the
didn't even put it-
UCL with Hull Beach and then we
Stanford,
took
unlucky. Stanford.
No, because it's not
Stanford.
true.
Holwich
It
is
is true.
professional.
Everywhere I've
They
seen.
won the same league as
No,
Stanford.
Stanford. I
Oh,
went
got
with
that.
you.
Thank you. Right,
It's
anyway.
not Stanford. It's not.
Okay.
Right, somebody come back.
We'll argue about it. Can someone just
In the
Wikipedia?
meantime,
Yeah,
we're
in the
going with
meantime,
Stanford.
right. Which club has Steve spent the longest amount of time managing?
Boston United.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Boston.
Boston
I
United.
completely forgot
He's
about
had 2
Boston.
spells there, okay? Steve left Mansfield last Tuesday, the 27th of February. The game against Coventry. What was the score?
I went 1-0.
I put
1-0.
2-2.
It was 1-0.
Hey!
Okay. Out of 907 games that he's taken as manager, how many has he won?
59.
59%.
That's a lot of games. He said exactly games. So that'll be a.
59%.
Okay, so it's
whatever
not
that
him.
was.
What we got there?
I said
488.
488.
I said about. I
426.
said about.
It was you,
590.
Chris. He's won 493. He's got a ratio
Hold
of...
on, I said 488, mate.
And it's 393.
You said 493.
Listen to your ears.
Didn't he?
300
He did say
You said
493.
493.
393 with
Well,
a ratio
Chris.
of 43.3. Someone's come in and said never managed Hull Beach. His Stamford team with Daley Thompson. I don't know.
Never managed Hull Beach.
Never
He
mind.
won the
Right, hang
UCL with them.
And which one was this? Before managing, when Steve was playing football, what position was he?
The only position I can think of is goalkeeper.
Upper centre mid.
I put right wing.
Okay, none of you. Striker.
It was a strike.
Okay. So,
So who have I got here?
You got 9.
9.
No, you.
started again.
I've had to give him 2 points for Stanford. How did people
Not
do on?
true.
How do people do on there? Can we have a look on there, Ben? Or Del? Any answers on there?
No.
Who did we got?
Midfield, water boy. Ryan said striker. Ian said striker.
360.
Johnny
They're
Hurst,
not far off.
Johnny Hurst and Paul Hudson obviously had Wiki up, 386.
Well, it's 393.
Well, it was wrong.
He was at R United. Well, Ben, you really touchy about that one, didn't you? Who won that one anyway? 1, 2, and what did they get there?
I think Dale won it. He got the Stanford game. So
What can I say?
You know Steve Evans, don't you?
I know Steve Evans really well. 2 out of 5 ain't bad, is it?
Would you have liked to know my tiebreaker question?
Yeah, got him.
Okay, so when Evans was at Rotherham as manager, he took charge of 172 matches, winning 72. How many different players do you think he used?
Steve Evans.
This I was shocked with. So 172 matches, 72 winning. How many did he use?
134.
What do you reckon? Do you reckon I
83.
I'd go for 91.
Right, it was 110.
So I was closest.
Yeah. Well, no.
Wow.
No, I was close.
110 players.
That's ridiculous.
In 107, which I think is quite bad. So we could get more bingo coming out. couldn't
But he's
we?
done that at every club he's done. He always works with big squads, which makes you wonder about coming to Posh on a small
So,
one.
like I say, now you all feel Steve Evans out. We'll go back to the game that you first obviously watched last Tuesday against Walsall. We did quickly cover it with the snow. I've never seen anything like it in my time watching Posh, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was one of the most enjoyable games that I've seen for a long, long
I
time.
loved it.
The quality weren't great, but what I liked is both teams. You know, they knew it was difficult. As I said earlier, it was difficult conditions, but yet they carried on and they done their best and they played well. Ostuma, mate. The snow was covering his boots. I know it's covering most, but it was just like
his knees.
It was ridiculous.
Be thankful we had the snow because he went and banged 3 in it. the week
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
he?
yeah. But no, it was it was an enjoyable game. It wasn't the best quality, but you know, even with the snow, both teams I thought give it a good go.
Doesn't it sum up the kind of what's the word? The attitude of Stephen Taylor and Marias. Both of them straight over to the sideline looking for something to scrape the pitch with.
One thing that did annoy me about that is Stephen Taylor was getting all the credit for it. You know,
Marias was the first one over.
He was the first one over. You know, what credit did he get? Not a lot, because he's not that well known. But fair play to the pair of you.
I think it was.
No.
But
superb.
How big of 3 points is it as well? You know, obviously it was the last game that we played now, but obviously with the whole weather situation which was going on, I mean, like I said, fair play to everyone that got that game finished, but it's a massive 3 points.
Like I said to you guys, with the fact that Scunny dropped points at the weekend now as well, they've been pulled into it. So suddenly there are 2 playoff spots pretty much available to battle. So
because obviously Charlton, we haven't got a game in hand on, and they're a point above us.
The Charlton are the next game for us, aren't
correct.
They? So you know, the teams above us, Charlton, Plymouth,
Bradford.
No, Bradford are below us now.
Well, they fall below us.
Yeah, they've fallen below us.
So that just proves obviously changing your manager at Bradford obviously hasn't worked for them, has it?
We've got these games in hand that if we can win, will throw us right into the mix, and then the teams around us, we still got to play.
Just one other thing, I know that I think we've got quite a lot of away games in the running, and people saying, "Oh, it's a tough running." But this season, our away form has been a lot better than our home form. Is that really such a bad thing?
No, not at all.
You know what I mean?
It's the same team in front of you, isn't it? Whether the home or away, and I don't think that being home or away has phased us this year.
Do you reckon as well, because of how late on in the season this Shrewsbury game's got cancelled, by the time we get round to rearranging the fixture, they could be in a position where they know they're guaranteed like a playoff spot or something like that? It could come back to benefit us in that respect. They could end up.
Sorry, go on. Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say they could end up building what the EFL would refer to as a weakened team because they've got to protect their players.
Well, it's looking like it's going to be in April anyway. So
is anyone getting a bit worried by the Rochdale situation? Because they've had yet another game cancelled. They're running out of available dates to actually put these games on without having to play 3 games a week at the end of the season. Whoever's going to come up against Rochdale's going to come up against a very, very tired team. So that might be easy points of people above us.
Is that? Oh, but I was going to say, I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, because they are really.
I would want to play Rochdale in their run up with what they've got coming up because they're going to be playing non-stop match.
But then they're fighting for their lives, so it's a little bit different, isn't it? You know, I think they're about 12 points off with obviously 4 games in hand, so that's 15 points there, isn't it? But it's.
I mean, those players, don't you say they prefer nothing more than to play game after game. So you know, Saturday, Tuesday, you know, sometimes suits players.
Let's just quickly, like I say, we're nearly towards the end, but we'll cover Saturday, Charlton. Biggest game of the season so far? Because of they're obviously a point ahead of us. We've only got 1 game in hand over them.
That's exactly what Chris Mizzen's just said here. He said Charlton will be the biggest game of the season so far.
Yeah. It's Evan's first game. I mean, if we win it, it basically throws open the playoff door for us, I think. Lose it, and you know we're just losing more ground on those playoffs. So yeah, it's massive.
You've got to look at it the other way. If Charlton do come to us and they take the victory, it then puts obviously a little gap. I mean,
just think back as well. Remember the game at Charlton that we played on that Tuesday night that we threw away 3 points at, but you know we played some of the best football supposedly of the season at that point.
We ripped into tonight. Yeah.
If you want to give it to me, I'll give it back. That's fine. Cool. Cheers, Steve.
He's the one that always eating the cake, isn't he? Like I said, it would be nice to see. Do you think that there'll be a few extra people through the turnstile Saturday because it's Steve's first game? Or?
Yeah, it will be. But the thing is, like I say, people are judging the last attendance by the weather. Without the weather, you would still have got. It would have been low attendance, but it would have been 4,500, 5,000 at least for the last.
But you've got to look at there was probably about 600 season ticket holders which didn't turn up. You know, which is a lot, isn't it?
Yes, because most Posh supporters live out of town, and we couldn't travel in.
We couldn't get in.
Oh, I travelled miles away.
It was all right down your way.
You joking?
It was fine.
I'm in Cambridge, and I got up there. You know, I had to go and pick the kids up. I had to drop my daughter off. I had to get to the game. You know, and it was cold though, wasn't it? It was cold.
It's one of the coldest I've been at a football match.
It was cold.
That I'm of the notion that it's helped us having the last game called off, so Evans has had all this extra time. Yeah, it's also built the anticipation. This game has literally got draw written all over it now. Yeah. Honestly, because there's such anticipation for him now. I don't see him not getting a result out of the first game.
No.
but I honestly don't see us winning it because Charlton are. It's been a while since Carl Robinson had a decent result against us.
Good.
Yeah, but there's only so long you can keep those runs up.
Yeah, next year.
So obviously with that we'll have the prediction league that will come out. Obviously there wasn't a prediction league last week, which I did sort of anticipate that Shrewsbury was going to be called off.
It's a good job you
big
didn't go
goal,
yourself,
yeah,
wasn't
good,
it? It's a good job you didn't go yourself.
Well, there was that, yeah. So like I say, we will get the prediction league out, and then obviously that will all be updated. Not many more games left really, because obviously we've got the prediction league here with the shirt sponsored by Serpentine Green, that fantastic prize. Levi said at the top of that. Or...
I think so, yeah.
Good luck, Levi.
Oh.
I wish you well.
We've had a message from Ryan Taylor. Says, "What do you think of Shrewsbury? You got a decent team, but the people who do your podcasts are right." That's what we think.
Shake their wrists.
They shake their wrists.
Yeah, well, they've got nothing else to shake, have they?
Were they scared of a Madison Screamer? Is that what it were? You know. So, like I say, that's obviously Charlton. We've then got next week. We won't be doing a show because then we're going to go fortnightly, so we won't be able to cover Bury next Tuesday. Quickly cover it here now. Obviously, Bury's a bit of a bogey place for us, isn't it?
No. That entire area is a bogey place. For us
On a plus note, then 3 of them were in the bottom 4, weren't they?
That's a plus note. You're forgetting who we are.
It's not the point. But obviously, I mean, you could settle with losing the bottom 4, couldn't you? At the minute. I mean, you'd love to, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you, Ben?
Ben would personally kick them out.
No, it'll make it just a bit more sweeter if they go down bottom.
Yeah.
I really hope Rochdale do pull some results out there.
Oh.
Yeah.
It took them long enough to get out into the 3rd tier. What was it? 6?
Oh, if they go down with a stadium like that, yeah,
As long as
definitely.
serving
Yeah.
two in the same league.
Poor guys.
Yeah.
Lovely. Right. So, is there anything else just on there quick before we wrap up, or
We've done predictions for next game.
we can do predictions,
Sure.
can't we?
Yes,
Yeah, we'll do.
that would be a key, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do Charlton prediction. Dell.
4-2
Yeah, I'm going to go 4-2. I'm also going to go Madison.
That's actually the first time in a while, though, isn't it?
Well, apart from the last one. I'm going to go 4-2, right? Peterborough, Madison. Now, do I get an extra point if Madison's first goal is a penalty?
Do you get an extra point?
No.
No, because I'm going to have to give it.
Well, to be fair, we're not including ourselves in the league
We're not,
anymore.
but I
so-
reckon.
Yeah, I'll give them an
Yeah,
extra
an
point
extra
if that's the case, yeah.
What are you going to do if he gets penalty and he misses it again?
Do you know what, right? Nobody, everyone's seen. Oh, I've got a really bad back. Everyone's on at me as soon as I sort of slate Madison, whatever. Nobody praised me for when I said that, you know, fair play to Madison, it's the first penalty he's missed. And I was being genuine, you know, was it 7? Is it 7 out of 8 penalties?
Yeah, something like
I
that.
can't,
Fair-
I can't
it's
remember
not-
the last time we missed one.
It's not a bad record, to be fair. So
The
it
fact
happens.
Sam Edwards said it just before he took the kick on the radio, when, oh, Marcus Madsen, he hasn't missed a penalty
Yeah,
this season. I sat there and I
contact
just thought, here we
Here we
go.
go.
No.
Yeah.
Well, he weren't taking penalties when Boswick was here, really, was he? So that was probably why. But so you're going to go 4-2 Madison?
Yeah, 4-2 Madison penalty.
I'll go 2-all.
I swear you've just
Marriott.
for drawing.
Yeah, for 2-all Marriott. Do I get an extra point if Baldwin gets sent off?
Yeah, of course do.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
Even though it's not a score, but Chris.
2-1, and I will go for Marias. And do I get
You don't get any extra
Yeah.
points because
Do
you
I
have
get-
to
no.
score. I said I was going to stick with the same, so I'm going to go 2-0 Marriott. I said I'm going to do it for the rest of the week. Like
Rest
I
of
say,
the week.
rest of the week? Yeah.
Got one game.
just making sure you're on the ball.
I'm on the ball.
Right, so like I say, we're going to call that a day there. Thank you for watching tonight. Really appreciate it. Thank you to our sponsors, Serpentine Green Shopping Centre, Head to Head Barbers, and the Spice Market UK. Don't forget to look out for the tweet in the week, and then we'll see you all there Saturday at the Posh.
That was posh.